Hello everyone, this is Polaris or Surreality here, and finally getting in this video like almost last second. I said I wanted to get at least one a month in, so this is at like the very last day of the month, and I guess I'm a little bit late with it, but it means that the next one might be a little bit earlier. But I'm also trying to keep this one a little bit shorter. I think the previous one was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, so who knows. But really, there's only two things I want to talk about in this one. For one, I think the footage on screen might be Final Fantasy XIV, because I recently just started playing that, and it's pretty fun. I'm a healer, so there's a lot of stress and anxiety that goes into it, but I think that's like kind of par of or for the course, I guess, is what people would say, but whatever. But to get into the two things, we'll start off with the first one, which was the alien UFO hearing that I think happened about a week ago from when this video is being uploaded. But that shit was so funny. I've never seen anything like that before. Look, to the people that like aliens and stuff like that, like, trust me, I would love for aliens to exist. It would be amazing. And I'm sure to an extent they do. I think from a technicality standpoint, we've already found like bacteria on other planets, and bacteria is technically a living thing, thus aliens do exist, right? So, to that degree, I think there already is proof of that. And I'm sure that we've found a lot of habitable planets, or like planets that could sustain similar life to our own. And obviously those planets are incredibly far away. So it's kind of hard for us to get a good picture as to like what's, in those planets or on those planets. So there could definitely be life on them, and we just don't know about it. But there's definitely, I think, a good reason to think that aliens probably exist. In terms of them being here, though, I don't know. It just seems a little ridiculous. One, if they are here for some reason, they solely love the like Nevada, Arizona area. I don't know what it is about that area, specifically in North America, in the United States, but the aliens must love that area because they don't fucking go anywhere else. Like, they straight up, they just don't go anywhere else. I don't understand what the fascination is with that specific area. I don't know why they would love that area. I don't know why anything would exclusively happen in that area. And that isn't to say that there haven't been like UFO sightings and stuff like that in other areas, but it almost always seems to be in like, Area 51 adjacent places. So, I don't know. It seems a little ridiculous to me. And again, there's even like, from like logistics point of view, I feel like if the American military had alien technology, that would be something that Russia would be pretty paranoid about. And same thing for them as well. Like, if they had it, I think we'd be pretty paranoid about that type of thing. So the idea that we like legitimately have anything like that just doesn't really seem to make any sense, because I feel like we would boast about it as much as, like, again, China or Russia would boast about it. So that's just, I feel like what would be the case if we truly did have that type of stuff. And also, like, the people that testified, I think a lot of them were, like, pilots and stuff like that. So the things that they were seeing, I don't even think they were experts on in the first place. I feel like a lot of it, even though it was back then, I feel like could have just been things that existed, but they didn't know existed, or they just didn't understand. Like, they were, like, prototype drones at the time, maybe. I mean, I'm sure drones to an extent existed at the time. I think one of them was referencing stuff in 2003, 2004. So I'm not sure that drone usage was super popular, but I'm sure that it had maybe been in development. And I feel like they would have existed by then, so who knows. But I don't know. I think it's really ridiculous, and it's quite funny that they're testifying. I also think that if they're a whistleblower and they're afraid about whistleblowing, I don't know why they don't just do like a Snowden type of thing and just fully whistleblow, no worries, and just go to like a rival country like China or Russia, and that way you probably won't get killed, because they'd be highly valuable if what they were saying was presumably true. So they'd be extremely highly valuable citizens in those countries, and they'd be able to whistleblow everything. So I don't know, but maybe that's too much of a risky move for them, or they want to stay in the United States. Who knows? But they already are fearing for their lives anyway, just by going and doing the hearing that they did. So it seems a little bit redundant to me if they really wanted to whistleblow and then not fully commit to it, but that's just my own opinion. And that's kind of about it on the UFO stuff. There really isn't that much to talk about. I feel like it was just kind of funny and ridiculous to hear and watch and listen to. But the other thing, which I almost always have some subject that has to do with like streaming and online internet usage, and this time, it's actually more recent to when this is being uploaded, is reactions and streamers reacting, YouTubers reacting, and stuff like that, and the whole like fair use situation. The thing is, I genuinely think, well, I don't know. I say most. I was gonna say I think most reaction content is fine, but then I realized that there's probably a lot of channels that are, and I've seen a decent amount of channels. Most of them aren't like the super well-off channels in terms of their popularity, but they certainly just react to content with very little additional commentary, and so it might be the case that most of them are actually quite bad. But yeah, your like SS Sniper Wolf videos are they're not interesting, and I think they're susceptible to being copyrighted. Like, I legitimately think that people who have those videos should claim them. Like, if you have the ability, because we already know how abusive the YouTube copyright system can be, I think that people should start abusing it for those particular cases, or like even in the one of XQC, the guy who he watched like the whole video for and basically uploaded the VOD of the video, that guy should be able to claim his video, which we know he can. Of course, the question was then, well, wouldn't he get harassed by XQC's, followers and fan base and stuff like that? And it's like, maybe, but that shouldn't even happen. Like, they're playing a game of reaction. They already know that they're susceptible to being claimed. They should just be able to get claimed, and it shouldn't be like, oh no, now we're going to be mad about it. Like, no, that was a completely reasonable claim. Let it happen. Sure, you could say like, that's unfortunate, whatever, but if you're going to play this game of, well, we should just be able to react to what you can react to, sure, go ahead, but if you know the risk is getting claimed and potentially using your YouTube channel, whatever, then maybe you'll stop uploading it, or you'll cut it up a little bit more and stuff like that, right? Like, I feel like claiming people's videos to get them to take action isn't necessarily that bad of a thing. Again, obviously, I know that the copyright claim system is notable for being abused in a lot of the cases where they shouldn't be used. But I think in the cases that are happening with the reaction type of content, I think it should be used. And I'm kind of surprised it isn't, especially because there's been a lot of like false copyright takedowns of videos. Why aren't there just like big ones on big YouTubers that are not false because they're completely reasonable and justified? I don't really know. I don't know what the reason is that hasn't happened. Again, outside of like but what if you anger their fan base? But again, I think that's going to happen one way or another. If you're already, tweeting about it, saying that this is ridiculous, well, people are going to find out about that, and especially the fan base. And again, I think that's what happened for the XQC one. Although I think also like the Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers ended up jumping into that one, and so I guess there was a little bit of multiple fan bases clashing against each other. But either way, ultimately just comes to the same point of, again, it's a game that they're playing. I don't necessarily think reactions can't be fair use, and I think in a lot of cases they can be, educationally, or if you legitimately have some interesting commentary to add, and stuff like that, then it works. Or again, if you just have full permission from the content owner of the video you're reacting to, then you're fully able to do whatever you want. So again, like when XQC is reacting to the Daily Dose of internet stuff, as far as I'm aware, that's like free game, so there's not really much judgment there. But when it comes to other stuff, yeah, it's not free game, or at least not to the extent that you're free of consequences, so you do risk getting claimed and stuff like that. And again, the system isn't perfect. The system could definitely use improvements in a lot of things regarding false copyright claims. I think I watched the one Mogul Mayo video where Ludwig brought up the idea of having like the ability to actually take monetization from videos, which currently you need to be in like, I forget what it was called, but like music studios and stuff like that, and certain like groups can do it, but individual creators usually can't as an option. And then the idea of enabling it as an option. And I think that could be possible. I also didn't realize that YouTube tells you how much of another video has taken your content. Like, it gives you like a percentage of it if it's like 100% of your video has been found in another one. But I also wonder if they could provide options based off on that percentage. So for example, like if it's like greater than 90% or if it's near 100% of the content from your video is in another one, that the actions you could take could be more severe than if it was like 50% or 60%. Hell, maybe even like copyright claiming wouldn't even be advisable until it's like above 50%, presuming that that percentage is actually like decently accurate and that the measurements for how they're going about that are pretty good and consistent. Because obviously if it's not like a consistently accurate system in terms of measuring copyrighted content, then yeah, maybe it's not the most useful thing to use for that type of judgment. But if it is, then honestly, having options based off on the percentage of how much your video is being copyrighted by other videos, or being used, I guess, rather than other videos, could be a way of actually mitigating both a lot of the problems that are currently in the copyright claim system, while also while also providing new options, such as the one that Ludwig came up with, although he didn't come up with it. I'm sure other people have come up with it before, of allowing just individual creators to steal monetization. I don't want to say steal, but get rightfully owned monetization off of another person's video, presuming that that content is not really fair use or justifiably fair use. So it is kind of weird, but that's about all for now. I think those are really the two topics I wanted to go over. Curious on your thoughts, so if you want, you can leave a comment about any of those two topics I discussed, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy!